Hi, everybody. We held a parent and student meeting for anybody interested in hearing about the youth convention. The youth convention has been happening for at least the last 20 years. It's actually happened a lot longer than that, but it's been called YC, whatever the year. So we're at YC19. True Life went for the first time in YC17. I've been a part of it since I think 1999. I love our youth convention. It's grown. It's gotten stronger and stronger. Some great content, some great opportunities for students, and I want to just do everything possible to encourage any student, any parent who's able to send son or daughter, grades 6 through 12, to be a part of this summer's youth convention. When I first got here, one of my first questions was to try to figure out what are your fundraising expectations, what are your hopes, and what type of trip would your students enjoy the most. So tried to honor the feedback that I heard and tried to plan a trip working with Mark and with some others on our team to try to build a really good trip. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the convention itself. The convention runs for just 5 days. We've got bonus time for travel for some extra opportunities. And then speaking at the youth convention, two pastors that we have really high, just quality pastors. Troy Tisdall, who works in our headquarters and is a gifted communicator, and Dave Viam. Dave was here for our 50th anniversary. Dave was an interim pastor here a long time ago. Excellent storyteller, excellent communicator. And the theme of the convention is the word revealed, building off of the book of Romans. And if you were here in church last Sunday, we're using the same theme, and we're looking at the book of Romans in part because it gives us an opportunity to get ahead of what the convention is doing. And a number of churches are doing similar things with either their student ministries or their churches. We've got a great worship team. In the past, it was a band called Aleo Band. They were out of Eau Claire. Matt Schweitzer was the lead of that group. He's at a different church now, but he's bringing his band with, and they've always just brought it. They're a great worship team. And then we've got some late night entertainment. We've got two of those opportunities booked. We've got Holland, who's a Christian rapper who's done some stuff with Toby Mac. And then we just booked Crowder. So we've got two great night concerts. We've got lots of seminars that happen during the day. So students will go to 8 general sessions on the full days, morning and evening, and on the half days, either the morning or the evening. And then on 2 of those days, they've got opportunities to choose from about 12 to 20 different seminars that they go to that build off of the theme, but hit some real more practical at home topics at the very same time. While we're at Estes Park, there's opportunities to do just some great things in the outdoors, either hiking, sightseeing in downtown Estes Park, all sorts of activities. It's really good. It's a great place. The camp that we hold this at is at the YMCA Camp of the Rockies. We were on a 10-year waiting list to get into the camp. And now that we're in, we're not leaving. It's just one of the most sought after places in the country to do a retreat or a convention like we do. Last year we were about 700 or 800 students and adults that were there, and we keep growing. Our convention keeps growing, so we're hoping to go over the 800 mark this year. And then our trip, and you'll hear a little bit more about it in a little bit, but we're working together and we're kind of caravanning with our sister church from Bloomington. We're each on our own for transportation, for budgeting and stuff like that, and for most of the trip on the way there and for most of the trip on the way home, we'll travel together. So anyway, I've got a promotional video that I'm going to show you right now. Then I'll get back and I'll show you a little bit more about the convention as well. Okay, so hopefully you're getting to feel like this is a really good thing that we have in front of us. And you're wondering, I know one of the first questions you're going to wonder is, how much does this cost? So if you've got the worksheet in front of you, you can see how we broke down the cost, but I'll just tell you a little bit about it. Our grand total per student is $695. That is dependent on their registration form being returned by the due date that we've asked for. If it comes in afterwards, we can still register them, but the cost goes up. The Youth Convention has an early bird. They call it the earliest bird, the early bird, and the regular registration. So if we get people registered by January, we'll save a lot of money, so it'll help a lot. But $695, how do we get to that number? We've got one rental van. We're hoping to have one rental van and then one or two vehicles from True Life families that travel. Rental van is $100. We budgeted $50 per student for fuel. We've budgeted $52 for lodging. You'll hear a little bit more about how that's going to get used. We've budgeted $65 to go whitewater rafting. Every student is also contributing $20 towards chaperones, or $23 towards chaperones. We've got a miscellaneous line for $20, and then food. We'll take care of some of the food along the way, not all of it, but some of it. That's another $20. So that gets to a total of $330. The registration for the Youth Convention is $365, so the two numbers get you to the $695. For adults, I just want to, we've budgeted it around the registration part. The registration for an adult is $325. So how do we kind of work towards some of that, lowering that number? We're taking $2,000 out of our youth ministry budget, and we're going to spend it in two ways. We're going to take $1,500 towards the van, $500 towards the chaperone. So that means that $695 is now $595, because you can basically take $100 off of every student's fee. And then we're asking that every student turn in $100 towards their deposit towards their trip, just so that we know that we're going to spend money, and we want to know that you're going to go for sure. So that gives you a little skin in the game. So the magic number then to fundraise for is $495. As we put the trip together, we do have some chaperone needs. I know myself, Pastor Mark, we're both planning to go, and right now that's kind of the, hey, I think that's for sure who I know is going to go. We feel like if we have a total of 3 vehicles, the minibus and the 2 other vehicles, 4 more adults would probably be a really good number to have. We do pay for our adults to go, so as we budget, I've got the budget set aside to pay for the way for our adults to go as well. So even though you saw that $325 price, we're hoping that that price actually doesn't exist for adults, that they just have to pay for their meals. But if you have any interest in going as an adult, you're going to be asked to drive, possibly drive in the mountains. We should be able to stagger that driving so that not everybody has to. You'll provide leadership to our students. You'll befriend our students. You'll have a great time with them. And I think for as much as the week will challenge our students, it'll challenge you. It'll encourage you at the very same time. Excuse me. Schedule. So you're wondering, what's the schedule look like? So here's what our schedule is. We are departing the 17th of July, 7 in the morning. We're going to leave here at the church, and we're going to drive. And this is where OK will come down, and they'll be here that morning as well. We'll drive, I believe, to the western edge of Nebraska. We've got a hotel booked there, and that's what we'll do for day 1. It'll be one long day of driving. Day 2, 18th, we'll drive a little bit more. We've just got a few more hours to get to Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods is just a beautiful scenic place in down by Colorado Springs. We'll spend 4 hours at Garden of the Gods, and then right next door to that is a town called Manitou Springs. It's it's kind of a hipster, tourist, arty kind of town, and we'll give the kids a chance to shop there, to have lunch or dinner there as well. And then after that, we will drive. We'll drive to Salinas, Colorado, and there's a campground there called the Heart of the Rockies Campground. We will camp there for the night, in part because we wanted to keep the cost down, and that was a way to do that. And it's really expensive to go take a hotel up in the mountains up there. And then on the 19th, so the next morning, the 19th, students will have a choice. And I've been to this location 3 times. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. It's the only Christian outfitter. They run this as almost like a summer camp, like a summer ministry. Browns Canyon. There's a company there called Noah's Ark Rafting Outfitter, and our students will get a choice between whitewater rafting. It's a Class 2, Class 3, which is on the lower. It's not beginner, but it's not intermediate by any means to go rafting. And they also have a high ropes course, so students will get to choose between the two. Personally, I recommend the rafting. You can do high ropes anywhere you want. From there, we will drive. The next night, we'll drive to Denver. We've got a hotel that we'll be staying at in Denver. And after that, we'll on the 20th, we'll drive to Estes Park, and we'll go sightseeing in the village of Estes Park. So Estes Park as a village, as a city, I mean, it's a very nice, it's a very cool, it's a very touristy city. Students will have a blast there as well. And then later on the 20th, we'll check into the YMCA Camp of the Rockies for the youth convention. And then the youth convention scheduling is a part of obviously what we're talking about as well. That's a very detailed schedule, so I won't name all the details for that. But that'll run us the 20th through the 24th. And then on the 24th, following the convention, we'll drive to Grand Island, Nebraska, and we will stay at a KOA campground there for the night. That was another way of keeping the cost really low. Students still get showers and stuff like that, and it won't be a crazy amount of driving, but it'll give us a chance to have one last night together, build some more community, and just enjoy the trip. So that's a little bit more about the schedule. So there's another video here, and then after this video, I'll do the rest, just kind of talking through some fundraising and some more details. But just wanted to give you a glimpse of what does whitewater rafting look like in Browns Canyon. So enjoy this 2-minute clip.
A lot of the guides that we spent time with, in some ways I feel like they are friends. They're more than guides.
I have very high expectations of the people who work with my students, and every year the guides in the boats go above and beyond what I expect.
Did you guys have fun?
Oh yeah!
Awesome.
What's the best part?
This girl.
The rafting was really great. The water was fun, and what really made the trip, though, was the trip leader.
You know, I've been coming to NOAA's for over 25 years, and the staff every single year has been phenomenal.
They were definitely stood out to be that true to the family. They were really kid-friendly. It was a lot of fun, but fun for us too. It just brought the family together.
I would highly recommend NOAA's to anybody.
It's just second to none. We've had just an excellent time with NOAA's.
All right, so here's the rest of the questions. How do I register? How do I fundraise? How am I going to pull this off? So if you were at the meeting, and if you weren't at the meeting, there's some documents that I gave out at the meeting. They're all on the webpage that this video is located at as well. But there is a fundraising worksheet. I would just ask that if you would return that by the 1st of December, that'll give us a kind of a feel of, hey, we know this many people are planning to go. We know this many people want to do fundraising, and it'll help us as we kind of set goals and do some planning. And then for your deposit, that $100 deposit, the youth convention, the registration form, that is as well on the website. If you could return that with a $100 deposit by the 15th of January, That's a non-refundable deposit. That will hold your spot. And for sure, we will there going forward. We will be spending your money like we have your money, even though you're fundraising. And you can fundraise all the way up until the trip. We will, most of our bills don't have to be paid until like the day we leave. So you can keep fundraising all the way up until. And if you are wondering, who do I make the check to? You can make the check to True Life, and we will flip it from there. So here's a little bit of the form. I tried to obviously give a way for you to give me kind of the critical information about who you are, how do we get a hold of you, things like that. And then we named four opportunities for raising funds. In my past, I've had students that they've done every fundraiser, but they didn't need to. They didn't want to. Parents didn't want to. They said, hey, we've got other ways that we need to spend this time. So rather than just offering continual fundraising and not knowing what your goal is of how much you need to make, we want to offer fundraising that accomplishes your goal, and that also gives you an opportunity to make a commitment to work towards those goals. So we don't just keep doing fundraising until we think that everybody's got enough. But that's what the form is for. So if you could complete that form, that would help me out very much. And then the other form that you see on the webpage that you can download is the actual registration form for the convention. That's what we'll have to send in to the youth convention. Notice it's two sides, and there is a spot there that is required for the student to sign as well. So now the question that you're hopefully wondering is, how do I raise $400, $500, basically $500, right? I want to throw out in front of you 4 easy ways and one form that you can use. So that form that I mentioned too. So here's the 4 easy ways. Option 1, you can, and this is new. This will be something that I've done in the past, and there's a direction that I want to go with it, but we're going to start it out at the simplest way, and then hopefully as it succeeds, we'll grow the program as well. So gift cards. I recognize that we spend lots of money on fuel, groceries, and there's companies that are out there that are willing to partner with nonprofits, us, and give us a small cut of their profits. It creates a little bit of loyalty towards them, but it also has a return. It's not an instantaneous, hey, you're going to make $1,000 just like that. It's something that over amount of time will add up. So just think with me about the amount of gas that you spend per month. I think our house probably spends $300 a month in gas. What if you could take 5% of your gas bill and put it back towards your son or daughter, towards Colorado or towards some other trip, for example. So that'd be like $15 a month. Over 10 months, if you do that for 10 months, that's $150. That's good money. So we're going to partner with Quick Trip. Quick Trip does 5%. We're also going to partner with, we're using actually a third-party company that does for Target and for Walmart. The return for them is less. It's only 2.5%, which seems like a small amount. But again, as you do it over the course of the year, it can add up. So think about, all right, you probably spend more on groceries than you do on fuel. What if you do the same concept on groceries or on fuel if you shop at Target or at Walmart? So same principle there. And we're going to have 3 ways that students can make money off of the purchase of these cards. 1, on Sundays, we will have a table starting in the next couple weeks. Where after church, anybody can come up to that table and they can buy gas cards or gift cards from a student who's there. If it's their parents, that student's going to get the profit. If it's another student's parents, that other student's going to get the profit. If it's just somebody who doesn't have a son or daughter in youth group, that student who's working there is going to get the profit. So it's just an opportunity for others in church to also contribute to the purchasing of cards. It's something that provides them something that they were already purchasing, but it gets a little brand loyalty, and it gets us getting the profit from the company at the very same time. So that's one way. You can also sell these gift cards. There's a form that you could take. You can give it to family and friends, and if you give it to family and friends, they are welcome to return that form, to give it back to you, to give you the money. So say they wanted $200 of Quick Trip. They write you a check for $200 to the church. You give me the form, you give me the check, and I will, as long as I have the inventory on hand, which I should, I'll give you those cards right away. And then if I realize that our inventory is running low, I'll restock and I'll get you the cards as quick as possible. Quick Trip, it's 2 business days that they can get me a new inventory of cards. Same with the Target cards and the Walmart cards. We can flip them around really quick. And then, so that's kind of option 1, option 2 for selling gas cards. Option 3 would be, and this would be one that'll happen as long as this works. We can add this as well, but I want to kind of just incrementally just add this piece because this is the part that's new to me. But this company that we're purchasing the Target and the Walmart cards from, they have a way that I can send out a link specifically to each person that will give them the opportunity to buy from not just Target or Walmart, but they have hundreds of gift cards that they sell for. You can see online the percentage, the profit that you would get. It varies from card to card, from vendor to vendor. And then you make the payment directly to them, so no money comes into our hands. That's really nice. And then also, they take the profit that you would have earned, so if you earned 5%, and they make a monthly deposit to our checkbook, and they give us a spreadsheet, basically, that tells us who earned what. So that's something that we'll do once this gets up and running. We'll start to add that piece to it too. So I didn't want to start and add that right away. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible at the beginning. So if you have any interest in doing the gift cards, what should you do? There is a clipboard that was at the meeting. You should find that clipboard. You should sign up for a Sunday after church to be a part of the staffing for it. To be a part of the staffing, though, you do need to be present at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning before Sunday school so that I can go to Sunday school. You got to find me at 9 o'clock so I can give you the instructions, so I can give you the inventory, and so I can kind of walk you through some details, and then be present, obviously, through Sunday school and church. What else should you do? You could take an order form. You could find some family and friends. You could put it online. You could say, hey, I'm selling this online. Anybody want to buy from me? And then the third thing would be pay attention to when online ordering becomes available. So that's option number 1, gas cards. So I'm looking at that as like, wow, you could make, between now and then, you could easily make 100, maybe 200 bucks. That's almost half of what you need to raise, it could be, towards your trip. Option number 2, last year True Life had a fundraising dinner. And it raised a good number of dollars for those that were part of the youth convention, I should say 2 years ago. I can tell you the date, March 17th. So you could save that date and you could put that as something that you know, hey, I'm going to do this. That was a very good opportunity for those that were a part of it. And then option number 3, Andrew Carlson last year or 2 years ago, he led an opportunity for people to participate in service projects. He is as well. He's going to do that again. That was as well. That was a very beneficial program for those that were part of it. So as you hear about that, pay attention to that as well. So those 3 pieces right there, that could be enough for you to earn enough to be able to have your entire youth convention paid for. I'll give you one more way, though, if this is something that intrigues you or is like of interest. Mayo Event Center has a program similar to things that I've done in the past. In the past, I've taken lots of groups to, well, the old Metrodome downtown, in Mankato to the Verizon Event Center. We lived out in the West Coast, Safeco Field and different kind of stadium events out there. Big stadiums, they love having nonprofit groups come in and work their concession stands. Why? Because it's a tax write-off for them. So we are the preferred labor because it's a tax write-off to them. They pay, depends on the event. But Mayo Civic Center has this type of program, pays roughly $10 an hour, and they can employ students that are 14 or older. I am attending on the 31st of October. I'm attending the first training that I'll get to go to. And then on the 7th, I believe the 7th of November, I'm still waiting for them to tell me the time and some more details. But on the 7th, they are inviting me and any other adults that can go and be a part of that. To be a part of that, you need to take on kind of a managerial role. You get paid the same, but we will need some managers that'll be there. And then we can sign up for as many events as we want to. Students 14 or older, they can be a part of it. So mom or dad, if you wind up going and work, my daughter's not old enough to work at this, but you can earn the money and it'll go towards your son or daughter. So keep that in mind as well. And then as soon as we hear about like opportunities to start working there, we'll start naming some of those dates. We'll name the number of people that we're looking for. And once like that date is full with staff, we will say, all right, we filled this date, but then we'll keep looking for more dates. The other thing I should name regarding fundraising is this. We're going to use student accounts this year. I realize we've got 4 different fundraisers here. We're going to use student accounts to keep track of what each student has raised, and hoping that that's a good way of keeping records and staying organized. And if that is something that helps as you go to people to buy, say, gift cards, you'll know, hey, I sold $500 worth of gift cards to this guy. That's your money. It's not somebody else's money. They bought it on your son or daughter's behalf. So we want to honor that as well. So those are all the questions. Those are all the things that I can tell you about the convention. I hope this video served you well if you missed our meeting. I hope the documents that are online also serve you well and answer as many questions as possible. Feel free, let me know if you've got any questions, and we would love to take your son or daughter, or if you want to go with as well as a chaperone, to YC19. It's going to be great.